meant to be getting dressed. But I thought I'd come answer a question. Somebody sent me a question they wanted me to answer. And I thought, what a sensible question. So I'm going to answer it. But so don't think, oh, you know, she's still dribbling on about the birth. Someone asked me this question. So, hello. And obviously, you know, the most important thing with the birth is that your baby's born healthy, and he is absolutely perfect, as you can see, despite all the things they reckoned would be wrong with him. Yes. The question was, would I try for another home birth? And I thought, what a sensible question, because people have said to me, I mean, a lot of people were quite outraged on my behalf about what happened. You know, they said birth violence isn't okay, and the way I was treated wasn't okay, but an awful lot of other people have been like, oh, thank goodness you got the home birth you wanted, and oh God, you wanted a home birth and God made sure you had one, stuff like that. And they all mean well, but for someone to say, would you try for a home birth again, it's someone who gets it, that get it, that I didn't get the home birth I wanted. I didn't really get a home birth, even though I was born at home, if you know what I mean. In case you don't know, I'll just give a very short recap and then I'll tell you, then I'll answer it. I've always wanted a home birth. They've always told me no because of my weight, and I've always gone okay then. I've been really upset that I don't get it. And then I've always had, like, apart from being my second child, I've always had really easy births in hospital. You know, where I could have very much just get birth at home. And then with him, because I thought he might be my last one, I thought I'm going to fight for home birth. I want home birth. So I spent the entire pregnancy fighting for this home birth. Used every excuse in the book why I couldn't have it. I still fought for it. Had a home assessment which completely stressed me out anyway, because I know how midwives judge you from past experiences. And they said, fine, you can have one, but you ignore medical advice. But then they turned around and said, we're not giving you one now because of COVID, there's not enough staff. So, and all the things they reckoned that was wrong with him. So by the time I actually got to giving birth, I was exhausted from fighting for this home birth. Fighting to be treated normally. Fighting because they got my dates wrong and I knew they had. Which he was born on the due date that I'd said originally, but nobody believed me. You know, I knew when we had sex. So they reckoned he was dangerously overdue. They were trying to bully me into being induced. By the time I actually went to labour, I was exhausted. Because he was coming out so fast, I started to change my mind. I thought, well, maybe I need to be at the hospital, but it was too late. And I said to my husband, are we staying at home then? And he snapped at me and went, this is what you wanted, isn't it? Because he was against home birth, you see. I was like, this isn't what I wanted. Anyway, so I might cry. It's emotional talking about births. Anyway, my mum was downstairs with the kids. She come upstairs at one point and held me onto my front, which made the pain instantly better. If I'd have just been left like that to give birth, I'd have been fine. But she went downstairs because she had to mind the kids. See, that's the other thing I didn't figure with home birth. Before my mum come to take the kids downstairs, all the kids were like, you know how you see these home births of women with kids in the room? They've normally got people there to keep the kid off the mother's back while she's in labour. I was trying to do contractions and can't and breathe, and Pinky's going, Mummy, what's 3 add 5? Mummy, what's 2 add 4? Mummy, what's 2 add 3? Mummy, what's... And then you got Pudge and Bean going, you're right. I was like, I'm trying to concentrate on breathing. Because the husband's pretty monosyllabic at the best of times. So, you know, it was up to me to answer them while I'm trying to have contractions. Anyway, my mum went downstairs. The husband's in a flap. Thinking he's going to have to deliver a baby. He rings 999. I tell him not to. He does it anyway. The stupid woman on the phone tells him to put me on my back. I must be on my back. So he kept trying to get me onto my back. He didn't want to go on my back. Got me on my back. Instantly the pain's worse. So I've got a knackered back anyway. Instantly the pain's worse. Anyway, paramedics come. Shoved my husband out of the room because it's a really small bedroom. My bedroom is. Shoved him out the room. 3 massive 6 foot something men in masks, which is frightening anyway. And they're trying to pull me off the bed. You need to go to hospital now. And I kept going, no, the baby's coming, the baby's coming. They wouldn't believe me. They kept trying to pull me off the bed. So, long story short, I had to push the baby out there and then because they was going to move me. So I pushed him for the life of me to get him out before I was even ready, because, and even when I was pushing him out, oh sorry, even when I was pushing him out, they tried to pull me off the bed, and it was only because I snarled at one of them they stopped. And then as soon as he was born, they took him. Because people said to me, like, I'm surprised you could get out of bed and walk down the stairs and go out into the street when you, like, seconds after giving birth. You'd be amazed how quick you can get up and walk when someone takes your baby. So I'm hobbling downstairs, well, blood and cord and stuff hanging out, getting the ambulance. Oh yeah, all the time I was in labour, this man kept wrenching my legs wide open. No dignity. Same in ambulance, because the placenta, nobody helped him with that, so I was trying to push it out and I ended up giving up, because every time I tried to push it was like that, looking up my bits and pulling. Anyway, but thank God he was alright. We got to the hospital. I've never been so pleased to see a midwife in my life. Yes. Yes. She got the placenta straight out of me. Cleaned us all up, all that, and you don't appreciate how subtle they are about things. Like, you know, at one point he pooed all over me, and I had to have all my clothes took off and all this poo wiped off me, and you know, they're like, it's not a big deal, everything's fine. And I was so pleased to be at the hospital and have this midwife. Yes, and that time at the hospital when I was relaxing and stuff, I mean, eventually I got fed up and wanted to go home, but those first couple of hours after giving birth, plus my main reason for wanting a home birth was because I was worried because of COVID they'd take my husband off me, because I'd heard all these horror stories, and having him at home, the husband took off me because the paramedics shoved him out the room. And then, sorry, at the hospital I had him with me the whole time. But an hour before we was due to leave, which I don't know if I mentioned this before on my birth story, an hour before we was due to leave, a midwife come in, a different one, and she says, you need to take you need to take a COVID test or we're taking your husband off you. You know, never mind we've come from the same house and he's been sat in the labour ward with me for 5 hours already, and I just started crying because that's what I didn't want him to go off me. So I got bullied into taking this COVID test. Never found out the result of it, so I'm assuming it was negative. But like I say, that was me worrying being took off me, and he took off me anyway. The paramedic shoved him out of the room. So anyway, I can stop crying now. I've retold the story. All that to say, if you're gonna have there's no, if I was lucky enough to get pregnant again, there's no point me even trying to get a home birth, because they're clearly not going to help me. They're just going to stress me out and make me fight all pregnancy and wear me out, and I won't be in a good enough state to give birth, like what happened with him. So it'd be pointless me asking for a home birth. It'd be pointless me trying to have an unassisted birth, because the husband would freak out and ring the paramedics, and I'm not risking that again. I'm not going through that again. You know, it was a high price to pay to come back there. So, I would either have to have an unassisted birth, and that means an unassisted birth, which means, you know, give birth when he's not around. Say he's at work, so he works nights, and just give birth on my own, or try and make it to the hospital. But the chances of me making it to the hospital are fairly slim, because that's why we had to have paramedics with him. So, if it happened again like that, it'd happen again like that. But it's pointless me trying for home birth, because they're not going to help me. And if you're going to do if you're going to do a home birth, unassisted or unassisted birth, the people around you is so important. And my mum would be looking after the kids, and with the best way of saying this in the world, the husband isn't equipped for it. I'm on my own if I do that. Although when he was rushed into hospital when he was very small, I told them paramedics all about it, and they thought it was appalling what had happened. So not all paramedics are like that. But do I risk? I'd have to have a totally unassisted birth, as in no husband either, just on my own, like a cat giving birth under the stairs in a box, or risk paramedics again, hope I get nice ones this time. But it is pointless me trying for a home birth, as in what I want, with a midwife, and because it's not going to happen. I'm sorry I cried, I weren't intending to. I wasn't intending to. I think the thing is, I cried more then than I did when I told the birth story the day after he was born. I think the thing is, when you get your baby, you forget so much about it, or or if something's a bit traumatic, your survival instinct kicks in to get you through it, and it's only afterwards you think about it. I think, God, that was wrong. So yeah, I'm not going to try for home birth because I won't get one. Not in the traditional sense of a midwife, you're being supported, it's all lovely. It's not going to happen. I know, come on, let's get you dressed, young man. Whoop. Hello. We've sat his pram up for the first time. Now he's got a lay down pram. We put the city up seat in it. So we're going to go for a walk, aren't we? And you can sit in your big boy seat and have a look at the world. But thank you for that question, because somebody's saying, you know, are you going to try for a home birth this again? You get it that I didn't get a home birth, not in the way that I wanted. Obviously the most important thing with birth is that your baby's fine, but I think a lot of people think that that's the only thing you can hope for in a birth. You know, they don't think of the mental and the emotional consequences that can happen after what happens. And I genuinely think how you bond with the baby and how you are mentally after the birth depends on what kind of birth you have. As you can see, I'm still all teary. I'm still a nut job. And that's my second worst birth. My worst birth was Bean, and that took me months to get over. Months. It helps that he's such a delightful baby. Thank you. You're so beautiful. Oh, my beetroot seedlings to come up, love. I'm waiting for them. Still no peppers.